Hello, everyone. Finally, I returned after months without a public Pens and Feathers episode. Finally, was able to free up some time and get one done. So this time we're going to be focusing on, well, let me just start off by saying that there's been quite a number of problematic animes. Well, one of these I'll say was kind of got Twitter in an uproar. I guess for those of you who are looking for some feet, you know, I always try to deliver some new stuff that comes out. And there's two titles, Akebi's Sailor Uniform and My Dress Up Darling. Akebi's Sailor Uniform, it's kind of it's a slice of life anime title, but there's quite a lot of feet in it, so if you want to check that one out. My Dress Up Darling, though, it's got not quite as much feet, but it's got a lot more of the fan service, and it's a romantic comedy. And I'm gonna be drawing the main girl here. She's been getting a lot of attention on Twitter, Marin. She's what's called in Japan as a gyaru, which is basically, it's kind of a subculture. Their dress ups kind of, or at least to me, kind of reminds me a lot of like how the 80s were. Lots of really bright colors, colored hair, wigs, very flashy outfits and stuff. So she's that's what she is. And she's also an otaku. So she likes going to conventions and cosplaying. And she's friends with Gojo. He makes clothes and stuff, so he's able to like make her costume. But it's pretty funny. It's really well animated. Actually, both of them are. So we're drawing Marin today. And the game I'm playing today is Devil Slayer Roxassi. It's a PC game. I do believe it's on consoles also. Best way I can describe it, it's kind of a combination of Binding of Isaac with Dark Souls kind of combat, and Gauntlet, if you remember the arcade game Gauntlet. It's really fun. I've gotten about like over 30 hours into it. It's great. You start off with Byleth, who's the one in the front here in the white with the sword, and as you go through the game, you gradually unlock all the other characters, and they've got their own skill sets and their own weapons that they use. And if you go through the game, if you end up dying, you retain all the skills and everything you've unlocked, but you lose all the weapons, all the loot and everything you gathered. So you have to, well, no, I take that back. You do keep all the loot, but it's the loot has a tendency to drop again. So it's like you don't keep it, but it can end up dropping again. And it's $15 on Steam. I'm not sure how much it is on consoles, but it's a great game. I highly recommend it. So back to the Marin drawing. I'm using my typical drawing technique where I start off really sloppy with primitive objects and stuff. One of the changes I've kind of done recently is with the coloring. I just the latest comic I've got coming out, the next Totally Tentacles issue, I worked with a new artist on roughly half of the images named Wet Venom, and I'll leave a link in the comments section if you want to go check out the artist's work. But I really liked the way that this artist illustrates or colors, so I kind of tried to incorporate it a little bit into my own stuff, and especially specifically when it has to do with specularities and highlights on the skin and some of the blushing effects on like the colors of the skin, especially like with the feet, like the way this artist I always forget to silence my phone, the way this artist puts blush on the parts of the feet and toes and all that. So I just I kind of changed up a little bit with some of my illustrations, the coloring process. But anyways, you see here, I'm just same as always, I'm just going in, filling in all the particular spaces with the flat colors first, and then I'll go back in and put in some of the more finer details. So here's a little preview image from one of the illustrations that I had commissioned from the artist, and you just see what I'm talking about, just the way the artist colors in the feet, kind of with the blush from the ball of foot going up and the highlights along the edges and stuff. I don't know, I just really I really liked that style, and I thought I'd incorporate it a little bit into my own illustrations coming out for this particular comic. So definitely a shout out to Wet Venom. And since it's been so long since my last video, I thought I'd just take a few moments and discuss what it is I'm currently working on. Okay, first of all, the next Totally Tentacles comic. It's almost done. Here's here's a little layout about what you can expect. Obviously, the top ones are Wet Venom's pieces. I'm almost done with mine. I've got one more to go, and then it'll be up on for sale. This will be a Gumroad title because it's gonna be it's got the spiciness in it, so I can't sell this over on PawFeatherComics.com. Only more tame stuff is there. That's first of all. Secondly, over on my Patreon, I'm currently working on the backstory of Drizzle and Pecan. Seems like folks are really enjoying that, seeing what things used to be like before, when they first kind of knew each other, and how things devolved into the the craziness that they are now, the sort of sadomasochism type of relationship that they have now. And also, we had the latest round of polling that happened with BB and Urza from Fairy Tail won both polls this time. So the first one, I've already drawn BB tickling Urza, and now the next one is going to be the opposite of that. So that's what I'm working on. And then next, the mouse pads, the Raspberry mouse pads and stickers. I got the P.O. box set up. I think I said this yesterday on Twitter. I've got that set up. The mouse pads have been ordered, and the stickers actually we're making ourselves. So everything should be good to go fairly soon. I'm just waiting for the order to come in. Also working on the current Raspberry storyline, where she's in her challenge trying to keep from laughing so she can get her new costume. And Caramel already went through his. He failed, but he's still getting his. So, and the poll that just recently finished was everyone almost overwhelmingly was Astolfo for his costume. Although Venti from Genshin Impact was kind of getting up there. They almost gave Astolfo a run for his money, but Caramel will be getting a Astolfo costume. And since I like to report on controversial topics at times, especially when it has to do with gaming and anime, thought I'd bring up this little game called Dual Princess. It recently released on Switch, but then Nintendo went and took it down off the store. Excuse me, because for controversial reasons. It is up on DL's site, however, though, and I'm probably going to end up buying it. I'm looking into it. Looks like a tower defense game, sort of combined with a deck builder, and I think probably the cause of it being brought down from Nintendo Shop was the punishment interactive sequences. I played numerous games that have these things, and they're always humorous. But just thought I'd bring this up if anyone was interested in this title. So anyways, back to the Marin drawing. As you can see here, I'm going in and I'm putting in all the highlights and the shading. And I'm using, kind of like I said, more of the sort of the Wet Venom style of coloring that he uses here. And on her foot here also. Makes it look really shiny. And right here I kind of used a little bit more of a sort of like shadowing technique to kind of get her foot to pop a bit more off of the screen. That's actually what I used when I made the Raspberry mouse pads, and I brought it back, the initial one, and I resent it in for a new test run, because I put some kind of dark shadowing around the edge of her foot just to kind of make it pop a bit more off the screen here. One other technique I want to try and do a bit more of, I did do one of these images like this in the new Totally Tentacles comic, is instead of using the traditional black outlines, to use more colored outlines and gradient outlines. It really seems to change the aesthetic of the image. It gives it a much more softer and painterly effect. But I'm going to try and do that a little bit more. Maybe not for everything, but maybe more a couple of still images here and there. I'm going to give it a shot. And here we have the finished Marin. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Pens and Feathers, everyone. A long overdue Pens and Feathers. I'd like to give a big shout out to my 225 patrons, especially Mularu, Void Bastille, Chad Frasmer, Michael, Neofox, Emily, Willow TK, Fletch Lives, Jared, Artist 101, Kevin, and Papaya. Thank you very much. And thank you again, everyone, for tuning in for another episode. Hopefully I can get these out a lot quicker than just one every couple of months. Definitely gotta try and do better than that. But also stay tuned for all the stuff I've got coming up, all the projects and whatnot. And stay safe, and I will see you in the next episode, and more than likely on Twitter and all my other social media sites, which make sure to check out in the description below when you get a chance, and also Wet Venom. Later.